Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. Welcome to Top 3 Favorites in Every Category, Eye Edition. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. Today will be the final part in my Top 3 in Every Category series that I'm doing this week. And I've saved the best for last. We're doing eyes. Anything to do with this area of the face is what we're going to be discussing today. So think eyeshadow primers, brows, eyeliners, cream shadows, liquid shadows, singles, and of course palettes. So let's just get to it. Before we get into the video, I would like to point out a couple of things just so you know. I will not be inserting any swatches in this video because I have swatches up with all of these elsewhere already. So I'm going to be linking you to loads of other content in the description box down below. So if you want to see swatches, then you can. I have either videos or looks up with so many of these things, and I'd rather have you have the full idea than just like a live swatch in this video. So that will be there, as well as some other links, which will be shopping links. So if you're interested in any of these products and you would like to purchase them, then you can, and I could make a small commission if you do shop through those links. So first up, I think the thing we need to talk about is mascara. I don't review mascara. Why don't I review mascara? Because I've got naturally pretty good lashes. I've never used the lash curler in my life because they are naturally curly and quite long, so I don't find it a fair shot if I'm about to review mascara, because I could never let you know if you have short, spiky lashes that turn down what things might look like on you. My mascara doesn't need to hold a curl because I already have a curl naturally. So these are just my favorites. Some of these you've seen a lot, and all of them are affordable because I tend to chuck my mascaras after like 3 to 4 months of use. That's when I feel they start to be too dry to use anyway. So I'm not gonna go out and spend more than like 15 to 20 euros on a single mascara. And then I still very often get them on sale because I just don't want to waste money. So all of these are drugstore, and the most expensive option I have for you is the Maybelline Falsies Lash Lift. I also love a couple of L'Oreal mascaras, but I think if I have to choose my top favorite that just gets the job done every time, it's the Maybelline. I always get this at buy one, get one free deals, and I really enjoy these. I just think that this is one of the best mascaras they've ever done. This one is unopened because I didn't want to pull the one from my Shop My Stash, so I'm going to keep it closed and not show you the wand because I don't want it to dry up before it is its moment to shine. And then I just have some Essence and Catrice stuff here, so let me breeze you through it. My favorite that you've seen me using for such a long time is the Catrice Glam Waterproof. I use this to waterproof any black mascara that I wear. The brush is also really good at removing clumps. So first I use a volumizing mascara, and then I go over it with this to separate my lashes and make my mascara smudge proof. I also use this one on the lower lash line. And then also from Catrice is the Pure Volume Mascara. This is what it looks like. It's in the shade Burgundy Brown. Mine is dried up, and this was a recommendation from one of you guys to try this, and it's become my favorite brown mascara. So if you were looking for a good brown mascara recommendation, this would be my pick. Sticking to the brown train then, we have the Lash Without Limits from Essence. This also comes in the black, but I like the brown one better than I did the black one. Really nice shade. It has a bit more of a volumizing idea with one of those plastic bendy wands. It works really well, and I really enjoy the shade of the brown version. But another classic that I think I've shown you so many times is the Essence Lash Princess. This one is again unopened, so I don't have one that I've currently used up, but this one is, I hope, one that you've seen many times. The only downside I find with Essence mascara is that I cannot use them for as long as I do a Maybelline one. So that's why the Maybelline has a slight preference for me, because those last me 3 to 4 months, whereas this I need to chuck after like 6 to 8 weeks, and that's already when it starts to dry out. However, with how affordable it is, I don't really mind it, because I think I can buy like 6 of these for the same price as like a single Maybelline mascara. So even though I need to replace it more often, within the time span that I use this, it's still more affordable than the Maybelline would be. So there's that. So I do still really like it, and I always have one of these on hand. But I also think that the new Call Me Queen mascara from Essence is a really good one. I really enjoy the wand with this, but like the Lash Princess, it dries out about as quickly. But I definitely want to pick up a couple of other ones of this because I think this is a really excellent launch from Essence. And this one is sadly too dry to use again. So this was a brand new launch for them earlier this year, and I really enjoy mine. Then we also need to talk brows, and two of these are long-standing favorites. So if you've been here before, you know. This one, I'm not entirely sure, because this is a more recent discovery. It's the e.l.f. Wow Brow, and it's very much on par with the product I'm about to show you. The only reason why I'm like, yeah, this is good, but I like it just a touch less than the Essence I'm about to show you. And that's because the e.l.f. one doesn't last me as long. This tube runs out in like 3 to 4 months, and the Essence one, I can use that one for about 6, and it's still going strong. My main issue with a lot of brow gels is that they start to smell really funky after a while, and that they get really thick and gloopy, like a mascara really. So that's why I need to replace them super often, and I tend to go for more affordable things. The e.l.f. Wow Brow, though, does exactly what the Benefit Give Me Brow does. It has those little fibers in, and I really like it. I accidentally bought 3 of these when I last ordered from the e.l.f. website. So I gifted one of these to my colleagues because I was like, this is a really good product, and she was asking me for recommendations for her brows, and she's been loving hers as well, and I really like it. And I think depending on where you are, this may be more easier to get for some people than this guy. And this is the Essence Make Me Brow in Blondie Brows. This is what's currently in my brows today. I really enjoy it. I've gone through so many of these. I use it up, repurchase it straight away. I always have one of these in backup because it's been the only brow gel that I've ever fallen in love with. I've tried so many. I've tried the Glossier. I've tried from so many other brands. The Benefit one that this dupes, and this I always come back to. But no matter the price point, I've tried so many hyped up brow products, and this is the only thing that has really stood the test of time. And next up is this guy. This is the Soap & Glory Archery Brow Pencil. This is their precision brow pencil and brush in the shade Blonde. So you need the one with the fine tip and the spoolie on the end. I always have some of this in backup. However, I haven't used this product in 2 years because the brow pencil I'm currently using, which is by the Face Shop, has just lasted me that long. It's finally on its last legs, and I've decided to soldier on with it until the end of the year. And whatever is left then, I'm going to stop using it because I've had a good run with it. It's just, I've really gone back and forth between liking that and not liking it at all in different times that I've been using it. And the fact that it just lasted me 2 years is really, really good, of course. But it's also meant that I haven't been able to buy any other brow products for a while. So I definitely have a couple of other brow pencils that I would like to use up first, and then sort of look for some other brow pencil recommendations. But the Soap & Glory one is a solid one, and I can't wait to go back to it. Before we get to the fun products, I would like to get another practical product out of the way, and that is eyeshadow primers. We all know that I use a double priming method. That's what I call it. I'm not sure if that's the official name for it, but because I have quite deep creases, I've got deep set eyes that have like slightly hoodedness to them. So if I don't use an eyeshadow primer, I get creasing really easily. I ran out of my MAC paint pot earlier in the summer, and I went without it for like a few weeks, and I used concealer like everybody says you can. For me, it doesn't work. This is, to me, concealer for my lids, but it does have those priming qualities, so it does hang on to shadows, and it does prevent creasing. However, by itself, I don't like it, but I do like how it neutralizes my lid, and I picked up one the first chance I got, so I already have a fresh one in my Shop My Stash. In case you don't believe me, this is all used up. That's how much I've used it. This is like the 3rd or 4th time I've repurchased it, so This product has been with me for years and I just use it until it's used up and then I buy a new one. So what do I make sure to get the longevity out of that MAC eyeshadow primer or the paint pot is a clear primer. So what I do at the start of my makeup routine, I apply a clear eyeshadow primer to help with the longevity, and then I do the rest of my makeup, and once I get to my eyeshadow, I apply the MAC paint pot on top, even out my lids, and that's what's giving me like budge-proof eyeshadow pretty much all day. I have two favorites. If you're in Europe, the Kiko may be easier to get. This is the neutral eye base. If you're in the US or elsewhere in the world, then the Milani eyeshadow base may be the best. Again, this is one of those products, the Milani one, where I always have one. I use it up, I immediately buy a backup. Instantly. I always have this in my makeup collection, just in case, like if I'm trying something out and it's not quite working for me, and I want to stop using that, I always have something on hand that works. And I've just recently then found the Kiko one. This is almost gone, and I know I will be buying this one when this one is gone. So it's very flat. The plastic is a little bit thick, so it looks like there's more product in here than there actually is. And finally, an honorable mention in this section, which is the NYX Glitter Primer. If you have incredibly hooded eyes, you may find that eyeshadow drops down throughout the day, especially if it's like a chunkier shimmer. Try a glitter primer. I've only ever used the one by NYX. There are other brands that do them. When mine dried up, like the little tube this has, it got too much glue stuck in and I could no longer use it, so I went out and bought a new one. This is the only thing I've ever used that has really made it easy for me to ensure any eyeshadow sticks. So if I experience any issues with the previous method that I've explained that I use anyway, like all day anyway, then I tend to go with this just in case things do crease on me a little bit. Then I go in with my NYX, but I definitely have it more so for chunkier glitters rather than really making it stick. Because this is so sticky, I don't like it as a primary base for applying eyeshadow on top, because this is made to just grip onto things and it's not made for blending things on top. So if you don't mind the way things look when, like if it's not blended enough, I personally think that's a huge pet peeve. Like if something looks unblended, I don't like it. But with the NYX Glitter Primer, you can really make sure that things stick to your lids and it won't budge. Next up, we have eyeliners and eyeshadow sticks. And here again, I have quite a few affordable options. In the eyeliners, though, I have found that sometimes splurging a little bit can make for a good purchase. However, I do really enjoy the Kiko ones. Essence do good ones as well. This is in shade 9, but I do think that since Kiko has reformulated, their eyeliners have changed just a little bit. So I don't know if the one I have here is one they still do, because some of the shades were different. But I like the colors I have and I use them all the time. And I feel it's on par with high-end makeup. And then from high-end brands, I really enjoy my Lisa Eldridge pencil. This is in the shade Night Forest. It's a really, really nice, dark, saturated green shade. It looks really stunning. But we all know my true love when it comes to eyeshadow, like eyeliner pencils, is Victoria Beckham. This is their Satin Kajal. This is in the shade Sequin Green. They do like creamy versions that don't have sparkle. They do these ones that do have the sparkle. Some of my favorite shades are the Navy Noir, the Cocoa, Sequin Green, Smoky Quartz, and I also really like the Burgundy one that has a bit of a reddish tone to it. It's really pretty with certain looks. And I definitely want to get a couple more of these if they do a Black Friday sale this year. Fingers crossed they do, because the purple one, the Fig shade, that's one I still have my hope, like I still have my eye on that. And then we have eyeshadow sticks, and we all know I love the Kiko ones here as well. Loads of affordable brands do these, but the Kiko ones, I have so many of these. Like most of my cubby with all of my eyeliners and eyeshadow sticks is Kiko eyeshadow sticks, because I just love them that much. Again, something they've reformulated. I feel they still work just as well. This is shade 15 from the newer range, which I think is like a matte taupe, but they do shimmering things. I've even found some multi and duochrome things in here. They do things that are like a skin colored base. So if something like the MAC paint pot is too expensive for you, the Kiko eyeshadow sticks also come in skin tone shades with like a pinky undertone or a yellow undertone. So you could easily use those instead of a MAC paint pot if you'd want to. Loads of different shades to choose from. Sometimes with those ones though, it's better to go online because they have a much wider variety of shades than they do in stores sometimes. Especially in stores, I feel these are always out of stock. Similarly, Kiko is an Italian brand, but so is Wycon. I found them in Italy, and I bought a couple of products just to test out, and the eyeshadow stick has really, really blown me away. And this is in the shade Rose Brown. I took it with me traveling this summer, and it was so, so pretty on. It has a hint of like golden sparkle running through it, but not that it becomes too warm toned. This was so easy, and it's like an instant eye look in a pencil. That's why I like these things, so love that. And then I have my Mina pencil, which is in shade 963. It's the 24-hour eye stick. And this is a really pretty taupey shade. I love these. If I travel, sometimes I'll just chuck like 2 or 3 eyeshadow sticks into my makeup bag and I can just do anything I want. Before we get to the creams and like singles, I wanted to discuss liquid eyeshadow with you as well. Here again, an affordable option that you've heard me raving about for a long time. This is the Essence Shimmering Eye Tint or Luminous Eye Tint in Shimmering Taupe. I love this thing to pieces. You can see I've used up like a quarter of this, and that means you love it. However, I do have 2 high-end options here that I think are really similar. I feel the Essence one is like a true smack in the middle taupe. You want to go more purpley, try the Glossier Lit Star in the shade Mink. What's this called again? Fawn. I completely blanked on the name. But Fawn by Glossier is like the Essence, but with a bit more purple. And if you want the Essence, but you want it a bit more warm toned, then try the Lisa Eldridge one in Emily. I feel that all 3 of these essentially do the same thing on my eyes, but I have a type. We all know that. If you see my one and done eyeshadow video last month, you know. If it's like a mauve taupe, I'm happy. I'm really happy. And these 3 are incredibly similar, but that's just why I love them, and I just rotate through them as I go along. The Lisa Eldridge one I feel is a little bit more pigmented than the other 2. The Glossier is just meant to be a wash of color, and the Essence can be a wash of color if you use just 1 layer. However, if you wait for it to dry down and then go with another layer on top, you can definitely build up the intensity a little bit and get closer to what the Lisa Eldridge one has to offer. And then for creams, of course I have to mention my ColourPop Super Shocks. I love these to pieces. I have Ritz here, which you know is one of my favorites. I've hit pan on it. It's falling apart, but the next trip I have coming up, I'm going to take these again because I love them. And I love them enough that I have backups of them because I don't want to be without them. The other one I have here is So Quiche, and you can see from the dent that I'm about to hit pan on that as well. Another affordable option is the Mina. Here is again 963, but in the 24-hour cream shadow. Can you tell that I love Mina for these kind of shades? Really pretty taupey number here. This is a bit thicker and a little bit moussier than the ColourPop Super Shock, so I do recommend keeping the little lid with these that these come with, because else it dries out super quickly. But ever since I bought these, this little stack from Trinity London, I have really been loving these. My favorite one has been Magician. This has been such a good one, and these I've been able to take with me traveling as well. Like this shade together with Ritz and So Quiche is absolutely stunning. But they also do Mystery, which is like a more golden-y taupe. Really pretty. And then I have Chalice, and Chalice I use to smoke things out. And what I love about these Trinity London shadows, let me see if you can hear it. Did you hear that snap? You know exactly when these are closed tight enough, which I think is ingenious. And then I have a more glittery option, smoky glittery. I believe this was discontinued. At least that's what they told me in store when I picked this up. This is in the shade Hecate, I don't know. It's like a Greek goddess name. I believe wasn't she like a muse or something? I don't know. Something to do with Greek mythology. I do know the name from that. But these stack together. I also have a couple of their lip products that come in this little tower thing. I also have one of the blushes that you can also use on your lips. So if I travel, I now just like snap a couple of these together and I have my little stack, and I have an entire makeup look and it's like this big. Like, I love it. I love it for that reason. We're almost there. I just need to talk about singles and palettes, and singles that I couldn't take here to show you because I organize my single pan eyeshadow by color story rather than by brand. So I'm just going to name the 3 brands that I think are the best if you're looking for good single pan shadows. I love Clionadh for their multi-chromes. I love Sydney Grace for their mattes and more satiny shimmers. I think Sydney Grace is great for your neutrals and like your everyday, day-to-day stuff. And then if you want to spice it up, I would recommend Glam Shop. They're an indie brand and they do loads of different sparkly things and also some multi-chromes and duochromes. So depending on the level of intensity you want, I think if you buy a few shades from those 3 brands, you can have a perfect palette with all of the shades that are going to look right for you. But I do have a couple of things as singles as well, which you are going to be familiar with if you've seen my one and done shadow video. So I'm going to race through these. I love the Kiko water shadows. It's no surprise that these are in here. This is their newer version. I also love the old version. I still like the new ones as well. These can be used wet or dry, depending on the level of intensity you want. These are amazing little singles that I think are really well worth it. And even though I actually decluttered some of the original shades, I ended up repurchasing them because I was missing them in my collection. I know. I really like these little Urban Pearlization shades from Clavu. This is in the shade Glam Brown, and this is really nice for that more sparkly moment. Is this a cream? Is it a powder? It's called the Lucent Cream Shadow. I like this like layered over something else. This is by Moira. And this is in the shade Jupiter. And this is a really pretty duochrome. It really has that wet look effect. And then a shadow that I think is really special. It's a really pretty like silver / gold. It's by M Cosmetics. It's the Cosmic Pearl Dewy Shadow in the shade Luna. I think this is stunning. It reminds me a lot of Luxie Beauty Starboy. And now that Luxie Beauty, I believe, has been like, I think they went bankrupt or something. At least they closed down. And I'm glad to have a shade that you can still buy on the market. It's like a cream to powder formula, and I really like those as my singles. And this is definitely a little bit more sparkly and different for like, and really good as like a single. And then finally, we all know I love my lid lusters from Victoria Beckham. This is in the shade Mink. This is the first product I ever bought from the brand, and it made me fall in love. And this is what led them to actually send me some of the products. So some of the Victoria Beckham products you see in my makeup collection were sent by the brand, but I love them enough that I also buy them myself. So I placed an order last year for Black Friday, and I'm planning on placing another order this year. And I think I already have one of these on my wish list as well. So I love these. This is still my favorite though. The first one I got, Mink, this really nice taupey brown shade. It's just one of the best things they do. And that brings me to the final category, which is palettes. I have my 3 favorite drugstore palettes, indie palettes, and high-end palettes. So let's talk. We're kicking things off with drugstore first, and I don't think that any of these are really a surprise. In fact, I had to take 2 of these out of a cubby of my in my like office where I keep all of my makeup to like show you these, because these are currently in my Shop My Stash. That's how much I love them. The Essence Welcome to Cape Town has been a favorite ever since I tried it. You guys know that about me. I love the color story. Yes, we have warmth, but we also get neutrals, some greens, and some teals. What more do you want? And I love how the packaging here is reflected in the entire color story of the palette. This is less than €6 over here. I think it's a good price point for what you get. I didn't love a lot of the travel palettes that Essence does in this line, but this one was the first time that they truly did something special. And the other thing that's in my Shop My Stash is the Nomad from Juvia's Place. I really struggled to like say like, oh, this is like my favorite drugstore thing, but this is such a good color story for the fall time, and I believe they still do it. So if you want that like melt, Gemini, murky, grungy green look with some warmth for the pumpkin feelings, it doesn't get any more fall than this, and I still think this is good eyeshadow formula. Mine is definitely a little on the older side, but I really enjoy Juvia's Place as a brand. I haven't bought from them in a while, but these older things that they still do, I think are good. And finally, from the drugstore, we have the MUA palette in Andromeda Skies. This is really, really pretty. I think this is a stunning little palette. You guys know I've been raving about these little 5 pans from MUA. I think, like, MUA could do good eyeshadow. I kind of knew it because I've tried some of their palettes in the past. But when I tried these 5 pans, and they were, like, they completely blew me away because I didn't expect them to be this good. With the shimmers in this one, I do recommend using a bit of glitter primer underneath it because on me, the shimmers faded a little bit too quickly, but for how expensive these are, they're incredibly budget proof. I think the color stories are interesting as well. So this is a really, really good pick from MUA. Then we have our indie palettes. And again, no surprises here, I think. Fantasy Cosmetica, the Rogue. Let me show it to you the right way around. I think this is still the old packaging before they did the stained glass sort of look that they do, but I love this color story. We get 4 shimmers, 5 mattes, we get blues, greens, and purples. Really stunning. This all goes together. This is a little bit more of like a holographic kind of shade, so the shimmers have different textures to them. This is really nice and saturated. You can do some stunning looks, and I have said this many times, but ever since trying Fantasy Cosmetica, they have really, really gone up there for me in terms of one of my favorite brands, especially in terms of indie eyeshadow. I think they are still quite affordable for what they have to offer, and yet you don't have to like splurge like some other indie brands do. And I think they do fun color stories that work really well, but without breaking the bank. And I feel that goes for all of my favorites when it comes to these indie palettes, because another brand that I feel does a really good job at giving us really nicely curated color stories. Some of them more neutral and easy to use. Others that they do are effects palettes that will give you a lot of like duochromes and shimmers. And these only retail for around 40 euros, which I think is a really good deal. And they're Swedish. So if you're in the EU, they're super easy to find. So we have the Gal on Jupiter from Glossgots here. This is my favorite from them. And I just think this is one of the best cool tone color story that has come out in recent years. I love this thing. I think it's really, really well done. So it had to go in here. And then another affordable indie brand that has blown me away this year is Glamlight. I didn't used to love Glamlight, but this year I have fallen in love with them. And my favorite by them is the Chucky Crazy in Love. And this was one that so many people told me, you're not going to like it. It's going to be too dark. But because I get light enough crease shades, that's why this palette works. Yes, it's dark, saturated, and incredibly smoky. But I just think this is such a yummy palette. This is great for Halloween time. I love like the burgundies we get in here and these cranberry shades. It really makes the palette for me. And what's more, all 3 of these are high quality eyeshadow, and they are all under like 45 euros and under, which I think is a good deal for our indie eyeshadow because so many of them have gotten so expensive. But that doesn't mean I don't like a splurgy item. I definitely do. And these would be my high-end picks. One of them, again, a long-standing favorite. Whenever people ask me, like, what's your favorite neutral palette? This is the thing that comes to mind instantly. This is the Cashmere. And this is still, till this day, I think, one of the best neutral palettes ever made. You get warmth, you get neutrals, you get rosy tones, you get cool tones. It does everything. It only has 12 shades, and still everything goes together. I don't know how they do it, but they did it. And the formula is ace. Next up, the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude. We all know I love this. I really wanted to find the I Need a Warm to see what it looks like. But the Sephora was closed that I wanted to go to when I was in Paris, so I couldn't go. So now I have to wait until I find another Sephora to see what it looks like, because I don't think that it's going to be distinct enough compared to this for me to want it. However, I have been on a little bit of a warm-toned kick this year, so that's why my brain is like, okay, you didn't like truly give into it. Like, I only bought one new warm tone palette to add to the collection. So my brain is still going like, oh, maybe you would want that. But I think this one can see me through. This to me is a really good smack in the middle neutral palette. It has some warmer things with these peachy things here, but some cool tones as well. But for me, it's just really nicely smack in the middle, neutral, and I love the different textures that Natasha Denona gives us. And then for the third palette, I was very, very much stumped. I was like, I don't know what to do. What's going to be my third like high-end luxury palette? What do I want to feature there? Because I had so many good options. And I was like, you know what, Micah? Again, currently in your Shop My Stash, something you wanted to go back to because you just love it that much. And that whenever I think cool tone palette favorite, it just instantly comes to mind. It's the Pat McGrath Mothership 1 Subliminal. I love this thing to pieces. I just want to get more use out of it again this month. I go back to it all the time. I recommend it all the time. I think this is one of the best color stories in my entire makeup collection. And even though this was like the first Mothership to ever come out, it's still my favorite. I know it's an older palette, but it's still my favorite. So why not feature it here? And those were all of the eye products that I wanted to recommend for you today in this little overview of top 3 favorites in every single category. I really hoped you enjoyed this little mini series that I had going on this month. That's something that I try to do every month, to have like a week where all 4 of the videos going live have a little theme. So I really hoped you enjoyed the theme this month, and I really hoped you wanted to stay tuned for more, because I do lots of other videos as well, of course. So I'd like to stay tuned and hope to see you in my next one. Bye-bye!